And this is just one example when open source helped to even save lives using technology. And 2 points in this event is to build community and to start our interaction so that anyone in any part of the world could use this resource as improvement for their health. With the mission of finding your healing zen in the informational storm of healthy living is whatever sources you are distracted with, like when you wake up in the morning and you open first thing in the morning your social media, you may be just, like in the hurricane, swapped from what's important, what really matters, like make exercise or do some routine for your health. So mission of this Hesen initiative is to provide you so-called Zen platform to be in the most safe place, even if you're in informational storm. Most safe place is the eye of the hurricane. And don't be, still you can use a lot from those social medias, but you should be focused on what matters for you. And to be focused, you should be, first of all, understand where to stand. Second, you should understand what to expect to catch first, and how to use it to survive. One example was here at the top when one guy, oops, I missed September. He was has like hundreds of tabs open and hundreds of threads or messages, and half of them is never read, and even some important information was there. Sometimes he loses those information which might be vital for him. From open source, to not repeat because of the technical problem, so here was 2 points also. One is the idea of full open source is collaboration, transparency, and community-driven development. And no matter that some advances were from open source for software and even hardware, currently there are attempts, first version for advancing open source AI. So no matter that those advances are, so whatever was the basic principles, they are always, it's like gravity, and they use for any domain, maybe software or hardware or even humans. So one second principle is developing ideas in open and improving on other people ideas. It's like science, when whole notion of science is to apply it to what matters. Similar about human systems, what we already know about different tools in open source software, which you have seen on the previous slide. Similar many systems on the human body already have some built-in features. Who knows who developed it, but it was since birth built by ideal architecture, and those architecture sometimes fails because of impact or because of neglection because of lack of knowledge how to maintain a body. Yes. And back to software here. For software, guess how many regular updates, even for those Linux or for Androids, or many updates are released, and it improves the software. We as a human, yes, maybe our brain improved from from whoever was the first humans, but I would say no one would upgrade into you other than yourself. And those upgrade is first of all from the knowledge. Of course, you may not, if you're not trainer or practitioner, you may not know all the details, how your internal systems interact, or like to the some molecular level. You may not know all those details, but at least you should know that there is like your basic human anatomy. You should know some basic principle of what is the lymph, and like basic principles of the rhythms, like circadian rhythms, for example. So idea is to get concise holistic knowledge of algorithm by which we are functioning. And I wish that it was available more for people. So there is open source for human, which I call software from the term thought. So it has, I would say, has dependency on our perception of our belief system and knowledge about what we interact with. So we look at the life, and our body systems continuously interact with each other. We don't know about that, and we anyway impact those systems even by our thoughts. And those systems also impact us, and they impact each other. It's like programs which are running by algorithms they were developed by. Some programs are running in some autonomous mode, like at night, and maybe even at night someone gets those updates which I mentioned. And those autonomous mode, they work, but we should understand what we should do to improve efficiency how they work. People try to self-organize. I met a lot of people, and I've spoken with a lot of people how they try to organize their knowledge and tools to understand and manage their health, and which knowledge sources they use for health improvement. Whatever sources they use, they integrate into as inputs from different practitioners. For example, one practitioner is in physical therapy, another is in nutrition. So they can, if one don't know have some customer or some client who don't know details about nutrition or some like other breath work, he may connect to his friend or colleague and ask some practices or ask for some help. So view on the human should be holistic context of understanding how health and it will lead to healing process. So overview, what we will do as a result of this our mission. So that is a challenge. Challenge is, you remember those storm, it's constant flow of conflicting and distracting information. Also regarding health and wellness, and also increasing pace of life, tempo of life. It's more rapid and more complex, and complexity of knowledge is also advanced. Again, to mention AI, now some people expect, okay, AI will answer all our questions, but it may bring also more complexity because AI may start producing information which our brains would need to also consume and sort out, and those information has to be also filtered. And so it makes it harder to apply healthy lifestyle in daily routines. Again, I can mention the mobile devices. Yeah, if first thing in the morning you touch your device, it may be dangerous for your daily routine. Instead of drinking some warm water or doing some exercise movement, you may be swept by the storm. This whole framework of interaction I borrowed from so there is so-called systems innovations initiative where people take some problem, and actually I used to talk about this. So they take some problem and frame it using the mapping of different elements of those problem, and indicate where is those more dense dots of those map. They decide how to change the initial system, and next iteration is a grow of those system, and it iterates. So those systems innovation framework, systems innovation platform, I used to be a few of their meetings, and as I mentioned, I borrowed some principles of only beginning slides. Other slides are poorly handmade, I would say. So this was a challenge and input, and So how we would communicate is mainly a Hizen.us platform. Again, to not be occasionally distracted by something else. What participants I expect it would be experts and trainers, also novices in healthy lifestyle and wellness. And the outcome should be understand, first of all, challenges of experts and novices, what challenges they have in wellness, in how they live their life. Because when I speak to trainers, different than I speak to those who just getting into the exercises. And each of them has some challenges. So when we would have this community, we would enable some sustainable vendor-neutral open collaboration when even very, very novice can, who maybe seen only random YouTubes, how to do either exercises or do some improvement of sleep patterns or breath work or yoga or nutrition. So they would be closer to the eye of the hurricane of informational storm, so that they will know where to, first of all, they will be kind of protected in a more safe environment by our community. Because look here at the top, how many information each of us are consuming each day. The amount of data correlates around 2.5 quintillion bits, which is equivalent to 2.5 billion gigabits. It's only each day. It includes information which one person captured, copied, or consumed, or newly generated. And I heard that similar amount of information which one person, especially if it's knowledge worker and work with some informational sources and computers. So in one day, what one person can consume in 90s, no, not 90s, it was 60s, double check source. So it was how much information that person could consume in the whole life. Imagine this. So how as we live, we have always those novices and experts. And just confirming in the chat whether, first of all, I was asking in the very first slide, like which part of world were you from, so you can take chance to recuperate and just mention in the chat whether you are on LinkedIn or YouTube. Mention where you're listening from and whether you're a novice or an enthusiast or you are expert or trainer. So just the two words like location and your so-called avatar, yeah. So whether you're novice or expert in the field of health and wellness. And just in case if I see some novice from Michigan, thank you guys, you saved my life. You saved my life because if I don't know what happened with audio, but we already have one life saved. I mean, not my life, but life of some informational birth, I would say. Okay, we'll compile the chats afterwards, and I will move forward. We still have plenty of time. We have almost more than an hour, so we'll find. The most content it's packed with information, it's there. So how novice is turned into the expert? The journey. Normally it's like learning, note-taking, and networking, and teaching at the end. And through this journey, there are a lot of distractions, and distraction by social media, by stream flows. So it's never the straight line. even if you would be with those 5G who tracks your roads through the city or through not city, even in your house, if it would track your road. It's not always straight. Like you not immediately wake up and go to your basement to gym or go to outside to make running. No, maybe you do some turn. Well, maybe shower. It's okay if you go to shower. It's fine. You go to some maybe fridge and go to the computer. It's maybe like not for only for a few minutes. Then you may be distracted, and if you do it repeatedly, cycle by cycle, you may never become an expert because of the fact that you was distracted so many times, right? So 2-in-1, human knowledge in one brain, my brain, your brain. Human knowledge is of two kinds. Each of us, some degree, is expert in some areas and novice in the others. I will indicate it by N for novice and E for expert. How new expertise is gained? Sometimes it's enough when, forget about current days, about this media. Like, of course, if not media, most of you would not see me in other distances than proximity. But like, if you look at the older times, and maybe when those one of the first maps was created. So when expertise was gained, so when two people met, either it was merchant, from the example, one merchant from India came to Ukraine for some, they were exchanging some goods, some spices and some, but maybe I heard also they might have been exchanging not only spices or minerals, they might be exchanging also looking for some knowledge. So when two people meet, one who is novice, here you see it's white, he looks through some prism of his expertise which he already has. Because if you older than, let's say, 12 years, you would have your quite big baggage of your own knowledge, and whatever you look at, it goes through the prism of your own knowledge. So when you speak to expert and when you read or watch something, you receive those knowledge, and over time you may become expert or may not. So here, one book I liked, not only book, but I watched his videos. It's from Tiago Forte, Building the Second Brain. You probably know he's quite popular in the field of knowledge and personal knowledge management. So I took concepts from him called Code and Para, and I took also quite well-known paradigm of wisdom, knowledge, information, data, and I combined it into the process how the data, not data, but the whole set, all layers are transferred from expert to novice. So how novice becomes expert in certain field. And I identified that there is most crucial path is when you have one triangle. Most crucial path is from knowledge to information. So when you have, and back, so when you have gained information, you do distill those information. So you get, first of all, data, then you have information, you distill those information into knowledge. And there should be, for example, when you play, try to play Lego, so if you try to combine different pieces just in the air, and if you don't have some platform or some table where to put those pieces of blocks, those pieces of information together, if you don't have solid foundation, you may not build your knowledge, right? So first of all, it should be foundation, which in part of those foundation is distill, And second part is resources. Those resources may include quality resources like scientific research or whatever, like books, videos, blogs, also conversations with other people. And skill to distill those knowledge into wisdom requires a platform. And here is combined view of those single human. Again, it's a single human which has two parts in him, knowledge and expert. And we will be combining, so whatever is for distill and express. So this part can go into so-called learning management system, because it's something which novice can use, like you open some like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, or whatever course you have, and it's already part of something which expert distilled, organized for you, and you just watch it, right? So this is one block of the platform which would support this transition of knowledge from expert to the novice. Second part is around the two other blocks of building the second brain paradigm. It's areas and resources. This is so areas are like you can consider. So idea is to consider even those parts or systems of body as areas, and around those areas, everyone has one ear, like mostly one ear, why 1 ear? 2 ears, 2 glasses, one nose, and other systems are more or less unified within human. Yeah, we have some different look and voice patterns and so on, but basic elements, they've been for centuries, and we can note those like bricks, like areas in the platform, an open source platform, and then have branches from that, either to some even to resources from social or from other guys. But if you call it lymphatic system, it will be lymphatic systems system, I believe, another hundreds and years. So this is the second block and it's called digital garden. So there is also concept of digital gardening in the world, where you put your seed, your very last idea, and then start to contribute to it. It is something between like Wikipedia and some open source collaboration in the like GitHub. And resources also, why they are together, because to not lose the resources which you who ever been in a situation when you was reading some interesting material, then started to search, and by like different links you came to some very good material, but it was already late night. Maybe that late night you was also distracted by something, either by maybe your kids came to say you good night, or you just wanted to go to shower or whatever. Then you was distracted and you got some other then morning and next day, and then you try to find those precious link which you liked, which you were searching when you spent time to research those links, and you cannot find it. Who was in that situation ever? I believe it's not only me. And so these two blocks, so the ground for this, it will be open source community, the system which we are making the first steps and building now. And those systems, again, there are more information on it. Research were made before me. So those systems called digital gardening, good resources from Maggie. And what I like here, like she tries to avoid those silences like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Even some trainers use like Telegram or Instagram. Just you got individual contact. You do some private work, maybe it's for psychology or for some other consultation, and you are too silenced with only this person. Of course, if you high-paid trainer like whom I just recently Andrew Huberman. By the way, his book is releasing today. Just or Tony Robbins or some. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, good. He was my kumir once, and still is maybe. One colleague suggested he's up for training, but well, imagine that Arnold Schwarzenegger is in private chat with you in some messenger. He is coaching you, and imagine how much knowledge he has got through all his years of he trained other people, and he starts to put this information in your messenger, giving you some links, some papers, maybe some calls, and just it's fine. I wish I would be coached by him. And there are people who manage, even from those sources, to catch information, organize, and use it, apply for health. But there are cases when you just get lost. So you're not in that garden anymore. You're in forests or jungles, yeah. And maybe that there will be never fire in your jungles, that you cannot find those precious information which you gain from expert for which you paid for. Even I can confess, I have some courses which I bought, which I was part of practicing as community, like a few weeks, few months. But then it is sitting on my shelf or on my drive. I'm not much getting back to that. Well, I almost got distracted by some stories. So idea of digital gardening is to, well, you can still make your private notes, but to make part of those private notes public. Maybe just some concepts around which you would share either resources which you found from others or your own thoughts. So in those digital gardens called learning in public, and even if you would have maybe some time, I believe you would have some group which would be doing some learning from some expert, either from IT or from some health or wellness domains. If there will be even some private groups, so some information we can turn into learning in public. And then it can be, the other extreme is paper books. Yeah, I have a few books with me, and this one is like especially. So there are classic resources like blog posts or books, research papers, which are other extreme, which are not distracting you. It may serve, well, some books may serve as good stand for your microphone. Actually, my microphone is standing on one of the books also. So we should be at the middle, and we should balance always. So this platform should serve, first of all, as good solid ground for the other stuff, which will be balancing around. Yeah, so let me breathe here for a second and meditate for this concept. Okay, you see four circles here, and each circle has smaller circle. One is full, other is empty. It's those same representation from triangles, novice and expert, which is within each of us. But each bigger circle, it is expert in certain domain. For example, like personal trainer, high-intensity interval training, or physiotherapist. I went through all of them and even more, I would say. Again, another expert could be, it can be not in one person. Sometimes it's combined, but sometimes it may be not 4 circles. It can be like 7 or more. Other can be yoga, acupuncture, sacral therapy, also like nutritionist, herbalist, naturopath, and it's already here. I'm of those representatives. You can be like programmer, artist, musician. It's your domain, but sometimes you may be impacted also. I know I had just last week, not last, the week before, like my daughter is actually she's a good artist. She's making good paintings, and she playing violin, and they're preparing for some performance. It was quite intense practices. They did like mornings and evening few hours, and then she came with a severe pain in her arm, and I notified her teacher, Mr. Edwards. I say she cannot come to practice today. She actually missed the school the day because of the pain in the arm, and how surprised I was. He sent me the article from kind of physical therapy, explaining that through those small movements, tiny movements, musician can harm their small internal muscles, and this is just one extreme. Another extreme, I know some, like I went through that also. Like some young guys, when they go to gym, they try to exercise more, gain weight, lift higher weights, and they may also harm themselves easily. Good. So if I would look at myself 30 years back, now I'm 44. So what I would tell myself, if I would have internet those days, so I would definitely. So this is like a message I try to tell to myself, to the message to the past. But currently I have children, and I wish they could hear this message also, and they probably in the future they would revise it. So message is, with these technologies which we have, we should use its power to turn the sources of information and correct interactions into what heals us, not harms us. Because there is also industry of food industry, especially here in the US. Thankfully, with president, after president election, a lot of recalls made, like those, some colorants and some getting less. But well, I mean, you should always look at the root of of the matter, and the platform which is there should help you in that. And if it's not platform, again, Tiago Forte, he has resources how you take notes. It cannot be even like some complicated platform. You can just use your paper and like notebook to make good notes, and you should maybe just have good contacts to call right person when you don't feel well, even if it's whether it be some you didn't get mood, you can call your friend who is maybe in good mood, and those exchange will trigger some changes in you also. So structuring about the idea of we need different experts and noises interact, cross-pollinate between each other. So with this notion, we'll build infrastructure for open collaboration, which is areas-based, which has areas-based resources, those building blocks. And everyone is welcome to those platforms. Actually, today is a day of invitation. You're welcome to the platform whether you're novice or expert. And we will start building, start growing. We'll start our digital garden first. So maybe some like planting beds would be some areas who is expert in which part, and it will open focused in inspirations, to get inspired. Sometimes, like in open source, when you took some sources from GitHub, let's say, and you developed some other program on top of that, which has some little improvement, and you shared that, and someone else improved on top of that. So, but they were focused around the same topic. For example, one topic was even for the digital gardening, some practitioners they used and they shared actually their work for free, how to build those digital gardens. There are some also commercial variants, but so I want to keep it clean. I want to have like first safe, clean, and healthy environment. So, and which would allow also cross pollination between experts and novices, and it would protect. We cannot be fully protected, and it's already there, and it should benefit those distraction streams. And yeah, so but we should approach it with good understanding. We should be knowledge focused first of all, even if we get some stream. Just got some reminders. When you are too close to sun and you don't know that it can burn you. Well, maybe not sun. I shot too far. Maybe it's just when butterfly approaches fire, she may burn herself. But if she would smart enough, like we are human smart, you would approach at least to some approximate distance to get warm to not die. But you would understand what is it fire, and so we would have those different areas which you will play around. Last but not least, those knowledge sources. So we will try to, it's like you changing drinking bad stuff into the just clean water sometimes. Yeah, like the same, like we should change consuming distracting streams less, but in indigenous based knowledge sources more. What are the indigenous sources? They are wisdom based. So different continents has its own wisdom, like Chinese wisdom, Slovenic wisdom. Here, even in the US, indigenous people they have a lot in themselves, and some of those are not here. So with opening those principle of choosing the healthy stuff instead of more poisonous stuff, we should be learned how to find those gems, how to find those indigenous wisdom-based knowledge, and if we found that, we should bring it into our infrastructure area, in some area. For example, if I found something or someone found how circadian rhythms impact your like lymphatic system, or some other example, maybe better. So it will be just 2 keywords in platform, and from those would be links to those resources. And only then, if you're confident in those, only then you would have links maybe to some distracting streams. Yeah, so that stream would be called value stream flow, which is knowledge based. It still can so here you can see 2 layers. One is 2 groups of layers, I would say. One is there is collaboration layer. It's our layer. We have transparency, so-called learning in public, those digital garden, so on. Another one is at the bottom is so-called commercial adaptations, the competition layer or corporate layer. And within those layers, there is a river or flow of value, which is knowledge-based, and into our layer, into collaboration layer, we will get requirements and use cases from the stream itself, maybe from some like competition or corporate layers. We get these requirements, use cases. Actually, I would send it on survey soon, and I expect some requirements or use cases from you, how you maintain your health improvement or daily routine for health. Another would be like wisdom of daily life, and what we will give up for those, maybe in some future when it will be mature enough, we maybe do some social economical alignment even for competition or some corporate layer when we can commercialize. For example, if some good expert would be in our in our group, in our team, I believe like in energy flows there is also one component which is the which is money or whatever is like Bitcoin or whatever is payment is there. So those component is also important component of the whole energy flows. And if it would be some very mature expert or trainer in our group, of course he has higher demand. His time and his availability is limited. He has some good expertise and knowledge. So some part he of course would sell. He would maybe come already in our environment with that existing baggage, yeah. But some part maybe because he may be cross-pollinated with other experts, some part he may be willing to share. So we will get the both direction flows between collaboration and the commercial layer. And all that is to impact the human software first, and to impact the systems which we have, and so build on top of those collaboration layer, so-called model of the human basically. And to make it reusable, to make it attractive and affordable for either for novice or for expert, we have already all technology in the world, and we have also from the experts, also experts in IT, which can support those technology, because I know some trainers who might be like very good in what they do, like physically or like in healing practices, but they may need some help in this other informational. So we can help with that, of course. Okay, wrong direction. So what it will result in? It's like innovations will be disruptive. So when you break your silos, you break your existing prism of view in the world, and using the open systems and strong communities, we will be building sustainable world, or sustainable or more effective companies, if someone would like to pull from those sources into corporate environment. Like sometimes we do use some open source systems, either directly or indirectly building on top of those, making it corporate. So hopefully it will first make sustainable you and more healthier you as a human, and a better, more peaceful world. So coming to the most interesting and important part here. Again, let me make some. So what Haizen is about? What I was speaking, it is hard to imagine like virtually until you try, of course. So it will be platform. What is platform? It is software, okay? The software is, by the way, open source based. So to support enthusiasts and experts in wellness and holistic approach to health, and to facilitate those knowledge sharing, to collaboratively shift paradigm of individual's knowledge management towards more integrated solution in applying those knowledge. At the moment, a team, so the concept, again, I'm borrowed from systems innovation. So there is core team, which of course can be expanded. Myself, my name is Evgeny Vasyuk. Looks like I never told it through this speech. Friends call me Geny. So I founded this platform from digital engineering principles. I know also some DevOps practices I have. Also, there are a couple of Dominika is practitioner from yoga teaching and also project manager, and in general, like all people which are in core are like very powerful experts in their own. Also, Alexandra Pavlenko, like she's an anthropopath, but she's so mindset. At least with these three people, my mindset and vision, which was like not like in one day or even in those time when we were interacting through either through trainings or through some healing practices. But even before those periods, some mindsets or some, those connecting points of mindset, they aligned well. And so core team would be those, you're welcome to come to core team if you will find those alignment with you, with our mission, with our principles, which still getting worked on and improved. So, and there would be also extended circle and other members, and so the sky is the limit how much we can achieve with it. So you're welcome to join the team through the channels which I will share. So what activities we would be performing, and if someone, by the way, listening now from the systems innovation network, so they have a bunch of principles how to connect those pieces of knowledge, how to make notes. Also, we may bring even Tiago Forte here, or we bring some well-known expert in other areas. So we'll do some activities bit by bit, little by little, building the core team and building and creating the improving infrastructure. And here is, by the way, some open source technological stack which has been was helpful for building infrastructure, like a WordPress, Moodle, OpenEdX. So from educational platforms, right now it's active Moodle, but OpenEdX is there. It can be enabled if required. So okay, from not taking, again, and not prescribe any tools, at least for note-taking layer. Again, you can find it from other experts which are longer in this field, but some of them are well proven and verified by time. So okay, go through this. So like not taking, I have visions could be Obsidian with some Digital Garden plugin, so for immediate publishing. Also GitHub, Docker, Node.js, Hypothesis, maybe FreeMind, FreePlane, and Archi. And I'll do maybe some demonstration how it looks and how note-taking some notes looks like. And frankly, I was doubting for quite a while how to make the architecture of the human systems and knowledge, and I was quite along in the Archimate concepts and the Archi as a tool to make it available online publishing. But then I looked through the other prism and spoken with other experts, and it looks like knowledge can be just made more easily captured. And when we come to the areas and organization layers, if it's captured in proper place, using proper framework, we will then use the architecture, and we will use the tools to put it to correct layers and to make those, to rearrange those dots, like, you know, like Lego, and build it nice. So we're still working on roadmap and risks. So what risks I see, it might be also from you know, like governmental, also from like informational security, or from environmental, or we will point some other risks. And roadmap outline is, so today is the start. So first is, you'll see tomorrow the place where, and so instruction where you can get involved. And I'll do some demonstration. That one example of mine not capturing. Of course, it's in a wild. It's not even garden. It is like just in embryo, I would say. I like listening to Sadhguru, and one of his videos, I was comparing how he perceives the mind from some ancient Indian traditions. He says it has 16 parts. One is the intellect. So an intellect should be sharp like a knife, and to dissect, a knife should dissect. So when you have smart intellect, it is sharp, but only those who is smart enough can use those intellects. So those who is not smart, but he got intellect like a sharp knife, he may harm himself. So to be smart should be backed up with a lot of information, with a lot of studying. So if you look at new generation of children, so sometimes they look bored, you know, like either in the bus, you say, or even like at home. Especially when you take away mobile phone from them, or TV or whatever, they look bored, which might not be the days when I was at the stage, but anyway, so new generation of children look bored because they have seen cosmos through their phone screen. They had most physical experience until their, say, 14, 16 years. They either experienced in virtually or physically. So it's too much information happened to you, to them through virtual world. But if it's happened without real experience, only through information, without wisdom, then you may be in danger of those intellect. And this is, by the way, a warning sign of the artificial intelligence. So when it is in not smart hands, it's like atomic bomb, you know, it can explode and harm. And those atomic bombs, I think they might be within our children also, when they are exposed to so much informational flows, informational storms of the internet. So intellect wants to dissect everything, and life cannot be known by breaking it up. For example, he says, okay, if you want to know frog, you dissect it with those intellect, and you know where the kidneys, everything. But the same way you will not know the other person. Of course, you'll know where is heart, everything, but you'll not have those person anymore. So you can know physical things by breaking it up, but you will not know them without understanding the wisdom. So to protect, so it can be useful, intellect can be useful only when you know how to handle and how to reduce sharpness of intellect. Some guys use drugs, alcohol to to make intellect more dull, then they go to some insights through that way. But there is other way how to get those insights. So this first from 16 parts, he indicated 4 main parts. First is intellect. Second is identity. It's our nature to protect. Only when we, as I mentioned in 12, he had to know, children has to know that I'm cosmos. And this knowledge normally is transferred to indigenous knowledge from ancestors in our old days. And nowadays it is transferred the other way. So identity, like if you put even flag on one country and another country, or draw those line, to protect identity, you see what is happening. Yeah. So, but it's also part of the mind. It has to be cultivated. Third dimension of the important is memory. Memory has 8 dimensions, like atomic, karmic, continuous, unique, or and so on. So 15 key years ago, someone already knew it. Like yogic system is based on that. It's in someone's memory. But what is interesting is that our body remembers everything. Like you cannot remember your grandmother, grandfather, but your body remembers it. Like you may have nose of your grandma, or you have hair or hairs of your grandmom. So the body cells remember it. A mind is not capable of this kind of memory, but something in the universe, something in those DNA remembers and it passes through. So we can teach our self, our intellect, and our mind to at least be smarter in that, and to do that, capture those knowledge in the way that can be passed to our next generations, not only through DNA, but through some records, mindful records. So entire body carries a memory. So I just was watching those videos and making some notes, and I just mentioned first part, something interesting I noticed here. Of course, there are some typos. I was just typing while I was listening. So intelligence is insulated by memory. So there is pure intelligence, which is not traced by any kind of memory, like it's source of creation. And we don't know how creation happened. We should pay attention on creation, which is around us, on the flowers, on the gardens. Again, when I start speaking here, in my mind at least, I don't know, I'm getting some pictures from what reading I had. For example, I heard that, I think it's in Scandinavia, there are some schools where they have classes, like children classes, in forests. And in other countries, there are also like gardens, especially for workers, so they do more breaks walking in the green areas. It impacts, so when you only look at those natural stuff, it impacts the brain, and you start thinking more effectively, or you just release stress in that way. And so on. So there is a consciousness, and so you can only think of, this is my own thought, you can think only from data which you gathered. That means you can never think from anything absolutely new. You can do combinations, of course. So nature of thought, it can only recycle what it already had. It can create something new only from combination with something else. So the day child is born, he started to absorb information, and also it's regarding the good parenting, and I'm actually thankful to my wife also that before even our children were born, we reading a lot of books with courses which teach parenting, teach like how to, you can speak with child which is not even born, and so on, so on. So there's those practices. But well, now they are grown, they got the smartphones, and we don't have that much impact right now. So another thought, just to see how I'm doing the not capturing. So it's still before that I preferred FreeMind, but because the free plane was, which you can see, was some little buggy, but I'm maybe back to the free plane because it has some cool features. Anyway, this is all just mind mapping. This very simple open source tool. And last concept, like which I use like to capture, is for most people it is very hard to put themselves in need of long enough discipline, maybe like morning exercises or regular running, to put themselves in need of long enough discipline to explore possibilities of the human systems. When you maintain your systems properly and through quite long period, again, I think it's still from Sadhguru, yeah. So you can achieve possibility of you as a human in the higher state of mind, which will be more productive, more clear. And so here is a link on YouTube. So this is captured here. Yes, some other thoughts. So after that, it will go. Okay, let me see if it's up now. Maybe one of those risks, because I expose it to very wide audience, and when I'm maintaining this site, I watch how many attacks are coming, how many attacks it is exposed to. So maybe one of those risks already triggered, which will be fixed hopefully soon. Another knowledge capturing mechanism is, so when I read a book, yeah, here is one example. So I read book. In the same library where I am, I take some interesting books. Of course, I cannot tear the paper. So I do this small colored markers on each part of page, paragraph, which I noticed some information I should capture. So after that, when a book is finished, I just I'll take photos, and I found it quite easy. Again, I just analyzed like maybe 5 tools to make this highlighting better, because I cannot highlight in the book, which I have to return into the library. So I made those highlighting in the digital form, and I found it quite simple and helpful to do it just in Google Photos. I think I have Google Photos right now open. So here is existing highlighting, but I show how I applied it. So I just click on edit. Yeah, here's one, pen and highlighter. I prefer this orange color. And it nicely highlights. See how it nicely highlights. Undo. This mouse is better, but I don't use mouse now. And highlights looks quite good. And then, so this is digitized form. And by the way, taking chance that hopefully my internet is still alive. So taking chances, highlights are here. So this is one book I liked. It was like Science of the Scared. Not scared, but scarred. My pronunciation is still improvement. So modern medicine is somewhat restricted by its largely intellectual and reductionist ways of looking into health and disease. We miss out the breadth of knowledge and understanding of ancestors, which ancestors had and the elders have about the human body and its complexity. However, it is possible to preserve a respectful relationship to science while is it possible to preserve a respectful relationship to science while still engaging those elders in healing? So indirectly now some like in European medicine there was some not good actually shifts many years back when they biomedicine and some advanced in knowledge hidden some indigenous knowledge, and now it is indirectly taught doctors to devaluate indigenous healing and medical practitioners. Now it started to reborn, and some people, one of them I mentioned, do restore this, capture these knowledges, because there was really big scientific background, or maybe not scientific, because as Sadhguru mentioned, we don't know how we came into this world. So there is something which can be reused. So we are at a time in history when we have the last set probably of grandmothers and grandfathers who are alive at the time when many regions of the world and traditions and cultures are still somewhat active. So the elders who are still alive in Canada, for example, I know some, actually the author is from Canada, maybe connects once. So we have a responsibility to ensure that their teachings are, first of all, respected and not vanished, and carried on while we have the chance. And there is one African proverb, like when the reality of most libraries burning with this reality, and again, I know, for sure, sorry. So in Ukraine, many libraries also, many sources are damaged and burned due to the war. So we in times when, again, I'm back to the book, I'll wrap up soon. So with this reality, when libraries are burning, as American proverb quoted in chapter 10, I'll back to that. So we risk losing great collection of knowledge around the world with passing of more of those elders. And elders who more than anything want their young people to learn their languages, to learn how to help themselves through the understanding of their identity and their cultures. There is no time more important. Yeah, I should close this. So this is way how note-taking work, or you can correct your. So there is no more time important than now, while we have them, to make effort to help our youngest and most vulnerable. This does not have to happen to the exclusion of modern development in society. Those AI will not run away from that, also as from those nuclear powers. It will be always there, but we should respect knowledge of elders. Traditional knowledge from our collective history passed down through those words elders can be powerfully used. It was told as stories, but now we can not only tell stories, we can use internet, we can use systems, open source system to share those knowledge. As Chinese proverbs states, to forget one's ancestor is to brook without a source, a tree without a root. And truth is ever to be found in simplicity. It's from Isaac Newton, English Mathematical. So for first time in history, due to modern technology and global networking, we have access to knowledge of many different medicine systems around the world, literally at our fingertips. Bringing this collective knowledge together into powerful powerhouse system provides an opportunity for real change in our own health and in well-being, as well as with our planet. So when we see how advancement science and actually helps us, we see in context of underlying principles of health and balance that are not new for us. It's already there and increasingly being lost and forgotten. And change can be inspired from within, understanding how our different body systems interact with with outside world and with each other, and how the outside world interacts with our body systems. As Gandhi said, as human beings, our greatness lies not so much in being able to remake the world as in being able to remake ourselves. We must become the change we wish to see in the world. Yeah, we have time. I just go through a few important quotes and then I show how they will appear in the digitized form on those digital garden. Not yet digital garden, but at least how to make those notes similarly into the web page where the similar resources will be collected. So we are all somewhat imprisoned by mental discipline, customs, habit, and nature of our own nature, and at best can only apprise the state of things from within our own knowledge structures, sometimes exclusively. We are at great risk of losing our healing traditions. So imagine we had a true circle of care in our healthcare. So I was first shocked when in different country, of course, everything is different. I was first shocked by current medicine. Of course, there are some advances how they do those, surgeries, some advanced stuff, but it's simple if you're not dying. Sometimes, I'm getting distracted. So this would mean that not sending us to gynecologists at one end of the hallway of our for our ovarian cyst, and the gastroenterologist for our irritable bowel symptoms in another end of the hallway, and the cardiologist for our chest pain in another wing of the building of healthcare. So without talking the complex systems biology approach in understanding our bodies. Most humans do not possess state of hypnotic waking asleep. Waking asleep, it is those which Sadhguru mentioned about our kids as they get bored. So waking asleep, when mind, emotional, body, conscious, and thus live in their as so-called hypnosis, and thus live in their lives, it's possible to transcend to the higher state of conscience and achieve full human potential. And I back to those Africa proverb. When an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. So there are likely many answers to our collective history in stories of elders from around the world. The knowledge and information that comes from those stories are often minimized as myths or symbolism that requires deep analysis to gain the insights of the stories that connect their true meanings with our understanding reality today. So collective knowledge that is on the brink of extinction in many areas of the world, we have a mission to save. It may sound loud, but at least if you start with yourself, hopefully technology would help us. We would be already in good hands, in our own hands and in hands of our network or our community. So questions, let me check. It's time for questions. Feel free to put your questions under the comment, under the either YouTube or wherever you are watching. We have few channels, YouTube, LinkedIn. I would gladly answer them. And if someone would assist me to pull the questions, it would be also great. I check in just on other devices, there is some asynchronity. So when I speak here real time, on some other resources there is some delay, and of course better would be if you would communicate like in live, when you could see also facial expressions, but it's not always possible, of course. Yep, some questions I was asking, and I will send you. So if you don't mind, put in a chat meanwhile I'll make summary what we are speaking about. So we combined few parts, one from ancient times, how old maps were made. Then we looked how open source technologies help to survive in advanced world, even in some critical situations. One example was, actually let me open this example here. Hopefully link will work. At least I will know if my internet, they have some problems. So it was a story how Google Earth Enterprise went open source. This technological stack, but what I wanted to show you, so on base of existing geological data, they did some emergency response and evacuated. It was in Washington DC with spatial. So zones of geofence and roads can be. So they indicated some dangerous zones and did some live operations. They are planning of live operations. So this is one example how the open source can be used when applied on and combined on other layers. So from open source in software to open source in so-called software, how each individual can use our thoughts to connect with other individual thoughts on some platform. Of course, there are some means like like reading thoughts or transferring thoughts on the distance, which we are not that far yet. But at least what we already have with the technology right now, we can achieve simultaneous state even when we start not from scratch, but start from thoughts of some other person and start communication that way. So to survive with the mission Find Healing Zen in the information storm of healthy living, so we went through all that framework, how exchange of knowledge between expert and novice is done. And my invitation is just to go to that platform. I use one of the links. Yeah, I can show this hypothesis here on the other side. For example, so what is hypothesis? Is also some open source tool which is can be embedded into your profile on browser. So when I'm reading something, I can highlight, for example, what is some interesting phrase here? So it can handle very large data sets, including 3D terrain. Okay, so I highlight and I can annotate. So I can say I was working on some virtual reality 3D industry, yeah. Or I was working in this field. And I know blah blah blah, yeah. So some command, and you can be either public post or private. And if you have your public account in Hypothesis, so anyone can see, or you later on, you can see first of all this highlight, which is nice here. So this site, or my site, it leaves itself as it was before, but my command is attached there independently, and it can be then used and reused in other places. And if I want to watch, okay, where is it? Open notebook, my annotations. I can see all my, and this can you do also. Okay, I am checking the questions meanwhile. From others. Not sure what is the membership participation expected in this. No membership or participation. It's free, open source. You can have accounts there, and if it's something, well, maybe let me show back to that slide where I had the competition. Oh. Competition layer and corporate layer. So this part, which is collaboration layer, it is and it will always be free and open source. The other part, as I mentioned, if you would be so great expert of big demand, so you might have some or your own private practice, maybe also somehow through this platform. For that, like if some member novice or some other expert want to teach at more, like if you want to speak on those advanced levels, then you can like buy the course from those experts. But if you're still learning, so first of all, even if you are of not big star expert, you can have your course easily there for free for now. So benefit of getting first members on board. However, on boards right now, as a trainer, or mostly it's a message for trainers. So if you whoever on boards now from each area, and it's my promise. So first participants from each area as a trainer would have their courses there for free lifetime. If they would have more experts, we will maybe have strategy how to monetize, but it will be something like reasonable. And users also would have access, or novices, I mean, would have also access to the knowledge. Some part would be free, some part would be maybe paid. So we will work on this, how we will transition from, how we will use this value stream to make this social economical alignment. So from the roadmap, the number one is to get use cases right now from community, from you guys, maybe also from corporate, some ideas from corporate layer, and start applying it daily life already tomorrow. If you have some records which you have in other places, you may have it first of all for yourself or share with others in community, and you can start applying. Other question? Okay, let me check. It's fun because some streams are later and some comments I may receive in few, maybe in hour, when everything is finished. But it's okay. So idea is to be not bounded by even by time and place, wherever you are and how old are you. Idea is to start here and now, and the whole point of the digital garden is to grow it slowly and to not force. So if we get some good information even from this session, it of course should be filtered out through what is most important here, because I was like blah 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 a lot of stuff, but only few important things are here, so it will be summarized and you are invited. A digital garden, there is community. If you are interested, you can find a lot of examples of digital gardens in other places. But it will be our maybe workshops or those who interact within community, how we're going to build our system. All right, I don't see much questions now. We still have 10 minutes. We will catch up. At least you know where to go, you know the direction. You know how not to be distracted. And if you need my contact, I think direct contact I can mention here also. No, I'll do it for those who at least indicated for the visiting of the event. So I sent you my personal contact. Since you already paid interest, we may do some more. Maybe you'll be either in core or an extended circle, and all members are welcome. So with that, finding your healing zen in the informational storm of healthy living. Hezzen is now open as a platform or system for wellness enthusiasts and experts, helping to achieve better self and healing through learning and sharing the holistic approaches to health and improving from the inside out. Okay, I'm getting some interesting messages now, and I will. Yeah, I asked how you normally, those people who trying to take care of their health, how they maintain well-being and health. Like, for example, what they recently been doing for that. Some just started to go to gym more regularly or trying to eat more protein, but like they start measure how many grams of protein and so on. And so when is it? But the same guy says, okay, there was time when I stopped exercising and noticed loss of muscles, no matter that I was eating protein, of course. And so then had heard about like creatine, but not certain how it works. And like, okay, some YouTubers says it's good, it's great for health, others not. Again, good topic to research. Platform can help with that. Like other was like, it helps, okay, restore electrolytic balance. Any challenges? And the guy says, no, information is everywhere. I don't need any addition. And that may be fine. That's from the younger generation. Maybe they are connected to something, and or just intuitively know how to deal with it. Another example, which I like, is once had severe pain, and she went through acupuncture, like evening walks and exercises, evening meditation. This is what he was doing for health, and noticed that when he had pain in shoulder, so going to acupuncture place in Eagles helped a lot. And also, like, not only him, but he started to bring other, like his relatives, to the acupuncture, and like going for long walks in the evenings. And also, like, when our other guy started to go to gym, like, okay, let's go to gym together, and it motivates. Like, two times a week he's doing another challenge, another person just trying to read all the challenges which I'm getting. So for me, health is not the main point, like maybe physical health. It's rather one of the means of achieving some certain life goal. Oh, it's interesting. Like, on my way, so it was. So this person says it's more like, depending if she likes environment in which she is, how it looks like, then it will be trigger for her to do certain things like exercises. Like when she sees someone is running, maybe it's not comfortable for them, but it may be only her feelings. But maybe for those who is running, it will be feeling of greatness from him. So again, it's depending from through which prism are you looking at things. Okay, another message I see started like, eat less rice and sweets, and okay, wake up earlier. And it was 5 times a week he was eating. Oh, now maybe 1. That's good progress. And again, I see many notes here, like people stop exercising for some reason, or if they exercising, they do it for a while and then stop. Had membership in gym, and which is on freeze. I just reading through the messages. Okay, observe my feelings. I observe my feelings and look depending on what I eat. So when he eats something, he tries to feel if how body reacts. Okay, so with less carbs and rice, notice feeling better. Interesting. So one more, it's message from expert. It's 1 minute, but I will read it anyway. So like some clients are in sessions already for 10 years on private sessions of training. So based on client requests, like video recording is made and then sent either in YouTube channel or in Messenger. And when preparing program for the client, so this trainer sometimes refer to some books, or if to other experts I see in relation to not the same discipline. It might be like it's some physical, or it's from yoga field, but if she sees it's something which is not known to that expert, she refers to other expert. Also, some individual clients which prefer do training in groups, and in good point. So ask like what you want to focus on, and also you can use those areas of body to maybe gather novices around those areas. I know many people have currently weak lower back, like with lower back pain. We can have the groups for that with novices and trainers. All right, so we're closing the hour, and I know in some parts of the world it's maybe very late. And if you managed to do that, if you managed to listen it, thank you. And until the next time, stay tuned.